Now we're going to learn how to extrapolate. And extrapolating is using regression equations to predict a value beyond other values. We saw in the last video for interpolating, that was finding a value between other values, but extra would be beyond. Inter would be between. So for example, if we were interested in knowing the percent a person would get on their math test if they got 9 hours of sleep the night before the test, 9 is beyond the other values we have, so we're going to extrapolate for 9. So we use the calculator, and the things we would have already done on the calculator would be we would have already gone to stat and edit and typed the numbers into the lists, and we would have already gone to stat, calculate, and chosen number 4, linear regression, and found the regression equation, and we would have already gone to y equals and pasted that regression equation into the calculator's y equals menu. We would have already turned on the scatter plot if we were looking at the graph, and from there we could do zoom 9, and all of those things are in the previous videos. So here we have the graph of the line and we have the graph of the scatter plot. We don't need to be looking at the scatter plot for this, just the line. And we're interested in what's happening when x is 9 for 9 hours of sleep. So we could press trace and type in 9. Pretty unhappy with that. Let me try that again. Press graph, press trace. Okay, so I made a mistake before because I didn't think about how currently my cursor is on the scatter plot. If you move the cursor left and right, you'll see it's hopping from point to point. I want my cursor to be on the line because I'm trying to use the line for my interpolating. So now that the cursor is on the line, we can go ahead and press trace. Okay, press trace, then move the cursor down to the line, and then type in a 9. Press enter. Okay, the calculator is not happy with this, and that is because 9 is beyond the window that the calculator set for us. We could go to, whenever you get an error, it's a good idea to go to it, and then you can try to investigate what's going on. It's not happy with the 9. So we have some options. If we want to find our answer using the graph, we're going to have to change the window so that we can actually see x equals 9 in our window. So we can manually change the window dimensions. If you go to Window and you change your maximum x to something beyond 9, like maybe 10 or 15 or 12 or something like that. And then we should also change our y max, since the line is just going to keep going up. Maybe I'm going to make that a 150. Okay, now let's look at the graph. And now let's press trace. Move down to the line, type in a 9, press enter. Okay, so we got an answer this time. According to our linear regression equation, if we got 9 hours of sleep before that test, we would get 104.857% on the test. Is that even possible? Well, maybe if there's extra credit, but that might also be showing us that interpolating and extrapolating in particular might not always be reasonable. You might have a certain fixed window that makes sense for the data, but going beyond it might not make sense anymore. Just like perhaps it wouldn't make sense to make an extrapolation for, say, what if I got 0 hours of sleep? So we could do that. We could go to Window, and we could make our x-min, say, -2. And let's change our y-min. Maybe that's going to be 0. And look at the graph. And press trace, down arrow to take us to the line. And then let's type in a 0 for 0 hours of sleep. Press enter. Okay, well, according to the linear regression equation, we could still get 27.7% even if we got 0 hours of sleep. Is that reasonable? Maybe. Maybe not. So extrapolating is generally only good for a small window near your data. Okay, you can also extrapolate using the table, just like we interpolated using the table. And I find it easier because you don't have to fiddle with the window at all. So we could just go back to our Zoom 9 window that we had before, and we could go to table set, which is second window. And when you're in table set, change independent to ask if you want to be able to type in your own x values. And then second graph takes you to table. Type in 9 for 9 hours of sleep. And there you have the percent on the test. Type in 15 for 15 hours of sleep. Wow, if you could get 15 hours of sleep the night before the test, you would get 156%. What if you just slept the entire 24 hours? That would be awesome. How about 233% on the test? I think you should try that next time.